Hi, how's it in the name of Christ? What's up? Kikarabo. Yeah, hope you're good, hope you're peachy, hope you're stellar, hope you're in a neat little bunch. It's the 28th of December 2023. It's raining outside. I'm slightly distracted by the rain, but we carry on anyway because, you know, daily I gotta record something. Let me just put some caveats out there. My captions are not always accurate, and they are sometimes irreverent because they use a small G for God, but I don't have time to edit them, so I just leave them there, and I like them, so we keep them. Secondly, yeah, that's it. These days I'm not wearing makeup because I don't feel like it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Righto. I am under attack as usual, but like, yeah, today I got Joe. Anyway, whatever. Look, some menacing mongrel in America has been casting a whole bunch of spells on me, and he has seen that I tend to get pushed over the edge a lot by my family, so he really exacerbated that, and so I got attacked again by them. But it's getting old what they do, so I guess it didn't have the same effect as last time. The intention was to cause me to commit suicide. I'm not going anywhere. Okay, yeah. Look, y'all, I don't even know what to say. At this point, I just feel like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. But it's raining and I need to pass time. Not only pass time, but I really need to share something. Look, I got like a very horrific dream showing me a very dystopian society. I told you guys that this time is coming. Whoever I was in that dream, definitely not me in waking life. And whoever I saw in that dream, also definitely not my relatives in waking life. It's basically God showing me the kinds of people that are going to be in the tribulation and what they're gonna go through. So in this dream, one of my cousins, okay, so it was chaotic everywhere. Y'all, listen up, okay? We're going home in the rapture. I'm like so up close because I want to be heard, given that it's raining outside. After the rapture, there's going to be just demons everywhere, walking like, you know, they're on sunshine. Whoa, the song. There's also gonna be some pretty evil people. Yeah, but like, people are already evil, but like to the nth degree. So the Bible says that the human heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. It's about to get more realer than that. Let's just put that out there. But this dream was intense. It was extreme. I keep saying to women, y'all need to band with each other in the tribulation and stop having sex. Like, it's that basic, so you don't fall pregnant. Because what I saw in my dream was just on another level. First of all, let's just put this out there. Ain't nobody that is pregnant currently. If the rapture you see, my brain is muddy. No, my brain is not muddy, my speech was. What's that? Like, this thing must not give me problems, man. The recorder, I don't have time. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Let's just get back into the point. If you are presently pregnant and the rapture happens, you're gonna lose the pregnancy no matter how far it is. It's that basic. So PTSD vibes much coming to a pregnant lady 3rd trimester near you. That's the first thing. Hospitals with newborn babies, they're gonna disappear. Basically, any new human being that has not sinned against God is going. Alright? So 1-year-olds and under, maybe even 2-year-olds. Alright? I don't know at which point kids just start to become unacceptable in the sight of God because of how disrespectful they are, how disobedient they are. But whatever that age is, I don't think it's very old. The other day I said it could be like 4 to 5 years old. Yeah. If a kid can disrespect you, it's not going to heaven. It's that basic. Yeah. If a kid can deliberately go out of its way to treat you like you ain't jack, it don't matter how cute he or she is, he or she is not going. I did let you guys know that there's gonna be armies made up of little children, like literally going from toddler to preschooler to, like, maybe not toddler, but like preschooler upwards. Yeah, there's gonna be some pretty violent kids wielding knives and stuff and shooting people and killing them, whatever. So yeah, wherever it is that people grabbed doctrine from their nether regions, I don't know, and basically claimed that all children go to heaven. I don't know where you got that from. It's just not true. On top of that, there was somebody that went so far as to say the age of accountability is, listen to this, like somebody give me a gong, 20. It's hilarious. It's funny. He said everybody under the age of 20 is leaving. Okay. That was based on the fact that kids that were 20 and under were the ones that the Lord allowed to enter into the land flowing with milk and honey. In Moses' time, you know how the grown-ups could not go into the land, and 20-year-olds and down were the only ones that could grab the land? Yeah, based on that, he said that kids, anybody basically 20, all people from the age of 0 to 20, and then all the saints on the earth are going home. Okay, right. First of all, the Lord probably came up with the age of 20 because there had to be men that could actually fight in war, going to go and grab the land. They could not just send toddlers, preteens, teenagers only in there because they would not have survived on their own. So there had to be kids that were old enough to pretty much become the fathers of the clan, to become the leaders of the clan. That's why he said 20 and under. That was not a baseline or some kind of a barometer to measure what the age of accountability is. It cannot be 20. The reason why it cannot be 20 was because my little sister is only 22. Yeah, but she was 20 just yesterday, and I couldn't stand her then. She had invested a whole bunch of persecution against me. At some point, she looked me straight in the eye when she was like 18 or something and said, "What are you doing here? You know nobody wants you here." Yeah, she was about 18 when she said that to me. When she was 16, she, on her sweet 16, sent me around on some, like I was a helper. And I just looked at her on some, go get it your damn self. However, the fact that she was able to feel as if though she can just send me along like a domestic servant evidences that kids can get hella evil. Okay, they can treat people like they ain't jack, especially if they get trained to be rubbish by their parents. And ain't nobody like that literally after they die from like a car accident going to heaven. It's what you must understand. Then there's all these teenagers all over TikTok out here dancing to Tyler's Give Me Water, Make Me Lose My Breath, blah blah, booty hopping, shaking what their mamas gave them, basically wearing absolutely nothing at all in the interest of garnering for themselves a whole bunch of admirers that are gonna look at them in a very pornographic capacity. Some of them are like, I don't know, 16, 12, if at all they're not being guarded by their parents. They sneak out and do TikTok videos that are the stuff of porn sites. Yeah, porn sites. That's what's good. They're not going to heaven. Ain't no pornographer going to heaven. Ain't no OnlyFans model that's 18 years old going to heaven because she's under 20. Like, what are you doing? Like, y'all need to think more just adaptively to how in the world under heaven it is that God works, because if at all you don't study the mystery of godliness, you're just gonna find yourself in a bad bunch out here stranded with kids you gotta take care of because you did not teach them the right way because you imagined that they were off the age of accountability or whatever that even means. Yeah. When my one of my nieces, is it a niece? A nephew, sorry, when it's a boy it's a nephew, right? One of my nephews once told me that I need to go to the side of the street. He was 12, let's just put that out there. 12, 1, 2, yes, that age. He told me that I need to go and beg on the side of the street for money if I need money because his mother, thank you very much, had pretty much trained him that I'm rubbish, I'm the scum of the earth and I don't matter, and I'm basically a hobo. And so this kid came back and just kind of vomited that stuff. Ain't nobody like that going into the kingdom of heaven. When I personally was maybe like 16, 17, I remember disrespecting the living daylights out of some dude who was basically a driver of a school kid transportation, yeah. And I treated him like he was nothing, right? That's what's good. And my cousin, who was with me at the time, looked at me like, Karabo, how could you? That was so rude. And I felt so bad. I felt like such incredible trash that essentially I was humbled from that day to not treat people of a certain socioeconomic class like they ain't jack, because my cousin made me feel like trash. So essentially, if you can have a guilty conscience at that age, you can go to hell when you don't respect it. Is that basic? When I was about 7, 8 years old, I remember me and these, maybe even 6, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, let's say 6, 7, 8, we were all living Kotladi Soweto, grandmother's house type establishment thing, and there was this teenage guy that used to like kids, He used to play with us a lot, like Naradadisa. He was in high school. We were just basically shortly after out of diapers and stuff, and we gossiped the living daylights out of this guy as kids. Alright, we gossiped the living daylights out of him and spoke about him like he was nothing. Why is he always around kids? On top of that, we were just mean, okay? And one day when he was coming back from school in his school uniform, greeting us as children, because he had a thing about kids, he always used to play with us. His name was Beggy. He was like, hello, kids, how are you? Coming back from school, trying to be the kind, sweet guy that he was. The whole day we were busy playing games as kids. And because we were gossiping him for whatever reason, kids are out here gossiping, we then yelled at him, hi, this, that, whatnot, this, or that. We basically teased him as kids, like super mean. Yeah, and this guy looked at us, right, after he was greeting us, and his whole face, his countenance, drooped, and he walked to his house where he lived the rest of the way just very sad, like sad, just broken hearted. And I made an observation of that heartbreak, and it broke my heart. I was 6, 7, 8. It broke my heart to observe him be broken by what we just did. He did not react with violence, he reacted with sadness, and it broke my heart. Essentially, my conscience was being gotten to. And I kept quiet while the rest of my friends continued to rap on and basically treat this guy like he's the scum of the earth. Yeah, this teenage boy like he was the scum of the earth. The teenage boy of which, by the way, never really changed his ways towards us afterwards, so he was a better man than I guess the rest of us were better kids type thing, whatever. But that day was a hard lesson to the conscience, that the Lord has inbuilt this thing called a conscience inside very little human beings, to a point where they can feel bad when they do strange things. They can cry over sin, over bad behavior, evidencing that they have the invisible qualities of God basically, operating in them. And once these kids are given the gospel and they reject it and they disobey their parents and they don't honor the laws of their land, at some point when they die, they go to hell. Like, that's what you need to understand. You're gonna know just how young hellfire participants are going to be after the rapture, because there's going to be such young kids left behind that you're going to be shocked out of your mind. You're going to be shocked out of your mind. That show Left Behind, where it is that kid that looks something like 11, 12 got taken. I can't really say that that's inaccurate, because I believe that was a Christian family, so the boy left with the mom likely because he was born again. But if that boy had not actually embraced Jesus, y'all can dream on. It's not happening. Ain't nobody of that nature entering into the kingdom of heaven. The Lord is very strict. Evidence of the fact that God does not discriminate based on age is the fact that when he is judging a land that is just rubbish and disgusting, he used to eliminate men, women, and children without discretion. Like, for instance, take Sodom. God did not extract Lot and his children and wife with all the under a certain age kids of Sodom. If at all those kids were yet to reach age of accountability, they went to heaven, but the rest of them went to hell, like their parents. Yeah, so the babies inside the women's wombs in Sodom, they went to heaven. The 1-year-olds, maybe 2, went to heaven, perhaps 3, but there were kids that are in darkness. That's what you must understand, and you all are gonna know that when the rapture happens. Even though you're in denial right now, you've got your own laws, your own holinesses that you manufacture from whatever orifices are in your bodies, and so you come up with your own doctrines as a result to make yourselves feel better. But you must understand that it is better, you're better off rather just embracing the truth, and so therefore giving kids an actual shot at heaven, instead of being so upset about a God that could send a 5-year-old to hell that you will out here, bash your fist against him instead of making sure that 5-year-old doesn't go to hell. The Bible says, teach a child in the way that he or she should go, and in the end, they will not depart from it. The Bible also says, so you can understand how evil children are, that in the heart of a child dwells a great deal of folly, but the rod of discipline drives it away from that kid. So you gotta discipline some children to just stop being such animals already. However, the other day, I spoke about how it is that the parents of these children are so evil that these kids are set up for failure and failure from the very get-go. And that's the reason why the Lord has got to rapture the body of Christ. It is to give these kids a shot, because people are sending children to hellfire much too young. People are sending kids to hellfire. Kids are killing each other in high schools. Kids are bullying the living daylights out of other kids in primary schools because they've been trained ideologies by adults who are sending them to hell, hitting the ground running. Now, I don't know how extreme the eternal punishment of kids is in comparison to their parents. It's likely not that, it's not as harsh. There are levels, there are rungs in hell of punishment. They're not all the same. That's what I'm getting at. People who are closest to the gospel get beaten with much more eternal condemnation. That's what I'm getting at. So I don't even know what hell is gonna look like for basically very young kids, but it won't be as bad as it is for everybody else. However, it's going to be bad. There's no good part of hell, and that's why the Lord is literally going to go and rapture the body of Christ, because at this rate, if at all, he does not rapture us, and so therefore display that he is God and how young children can be that go to hell. Literally everybody that is busy getting born in 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, etc., going forward, 2022, 2021, 2020, basically new babies. You are literally setting up hellfire for just a whole conglomerate of newborn babies. You are literally sending 7-year-olds to hell. You're sending 10-year-olds to hell. You're sending 13-year-olds to hell. You are sending 6-year-olds to hell, and you will continue to do that, thinking that you're doing them a favor. Kid drowns at his own party and he goes to hell. That's what you're doing by your godlessness. Societies where you're supposed to be raising children to do better, instead, here it is that Hamas is recruiting them to become little terrorists from the age of 6. You are sending children to hell. If they die that young, they will not see God, at least not in a favorable capacity. And what I saw in my dream is evidence of that. Kids are going to get sent to hell. However, their condemnation will be on the hands of Batswadi Batenge Batsuleng Tseleng Babodileng. Do you understand? The condemnation will be on the hands, the blood, therefore, the blood of these kids is going to be on the hands of their parents. And I had a dream where it is that one of my cousins was out here, thanks to her negligence, feeding Wanakaka to some freaking crocodiles. And I was like, what is going on over here? How am I even supposed to describe this dream? How am I supposed to talk about this? Because I don't even know what I'm out here seeing. Yeah. Humanity. Understand that we are going home. Currently you are purging. There is a Purge movie that was released in 2021. I came to discover only today because I just watched it, called The Forever Purge. That's where we're in now. Where it is that crime is no longer legal for a couple of hours and one day a year, but it's just like, period, what's going on? You're purging, like just perpetually. And in so purging, you are also condemning your children. Let's just put that out there. The lifespan of kids is currently plunging like no man's business. Ever since 2021, apparently, the mortality rate of young people has increased by 40%. 40%. These kids that are under the age of 20, and so according to some irresponsible dividers of the word of truth, are automatically in heaven. But according to God's word, no, that's not really a thing. It can't be, because the Lord even makes it clear that if anybody causes any one of these little ones of mine to sin, it'll be better if a millstone were tied around their neck and for them to be thrown into the ocean than for them to face God on the judgment. Y'all are going to be judged for all of your sins, fine, that's a thing, but understand, woe to you, it is written in God's word, when you have caused children to sin. Woe. Offenses will come, it's written in God's word, but woe to the man through whom those offenses come. So the fact that you are offending the whole planet with children, woe to you. I keep on watching a whole bunch of infidelity on the part of America, where they are coming up on Netflix and all different kinds of other streaming platforms. All of these shows where they're trying to proliferate homosexual parenting, down the throats of children, and are pushing the agenda. And it's like, woe to you as a lesbian couple for adopting a daughter or son. Literally, woe to you. Woe to you for adopting a child successfully. First of all, woe to your country for allowing that to even happen, and then woe to you for allowing yourself with that lifestyle to raise a child in your household. Whoa. Is that basic? Because you are going to raise a child in an environment where he or she is going to have a very hard time rejecting that lifestyle because of the fact that both parents have it. So you are better off, if at all you want to choose your lesbian lifestyle, just not having any children at all. You are better off not being in the presence of kids at all. Do you if you want to go to hell, but woe to you if you want to go and grab some children and take them there with you. Is that basic? And because of what under heaven it is that you all as a conglomerate done did out here in these uncomfortable streets, I'm out here getting some some pretty nefarious dreams where I'm seeing children getting eaten by freaking crocodiles. Like, y'all need to stop, except you're not gonna stop, because it's the forever purge now, is it not? You're forever purging, and so because you're purging, you're busy freaking adopting children as gay couples. Go on right ahead and do your gay thing as you wanna, but stop adopting them children. Is that basic? But you don't want to do that, so God is going to throw you into a tribulation so that he can give your adoptive son a chance at living out the rest of his life in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, but not first before becoming a little cannibal. I told you guys that that's going to happen with children. Literally, it's going to happen. Kids, after the rapture happens, that are left behind from as young as it was just little guys, I don't know what, maybe 4 or 5, yeah, are going to be out here walking these streets because, you know, mommy and daddy were gay. That's what's good, yeah. They're still going to be walking these streets, but they are going to they're going to band, very ominously and strangely true, together with other children of all different ages. It's literally going to be like Lord of the Rings. Is it not Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Flies? Yes, Lord of the Flies. You know how those kids get marooned on some island and they die one by one? Piggy. Yeah, what not? It's going to be like Lord of the Flies. The tribulation is going to be like Lord of the Flies. Kids as young as 5, 6, as young as 5, 6, maybe 4, are going to be coming together, and the adults in the room are going to be teenagers. The people raising them, the people feeding them, the people basically helping them along are going to be teenagers. They're going to come up with their own law. They're going to come up with their own way of life. They're going to have the back of your toddler. They're going to have the back of your preschooler. They are going to successfully rip that kid from out of your hands. And kids are not going to be needy anymore of their parents. Right now they're like, mommy, mommy, mommy. Right now they're like, daddy, daddy, daddy. But something is going to flip in the tribulation that's going to make these kids not give 2 hoots about mom and dad. That's what I saw coming in the tribulation. They're going to have respect only for other children. And they're going to raise each other, however, because of the fact that they will have had no law and order, and they're going to try to come up with their own little society. It's going to be cantankerous. There's going to be anarchy. There will have not been anybody teaching your children in the way that they should go, and so therefore they're going to go awry. Some of them are going to become cannibals. They're going to eat other human beings. It's that basic. Because of the fact that everybody's going to be starving, they're going to be putting human beings on a freaking rotisserie. They're going to hate authority so much that they're also going to hate the Antichrist, and that's why they're not going to take the mark of the beast. That's what the Lord showed me. Your children ranging from 5, 6, 7 all the way up until you're not 20 years old. They're going to band together and live out of high schools, live out of homes that they're going to drive out the adults they're in, having killed them, maybe even having eaten them for dinner because they're Hannibal Lecter now, and they're going to live in those houses, and they're going to be so fearsome as an army. They're going to be so scary that everybody's going to be avoiding them. Everybody's going to be scared of these kids except the police state, except the military, except the army. The only thing that these kids will be fleeing from is the army. However, everybody else is going to be fleeing from them. That is how fearsome they're going to be. Due to what you did to them, they're going to become massacrists, you understand? And they're going to give weapons, murderous weapons, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. And these 7-year-olds, you're going to look at them, you're going to think, oh, it's just a kid, it's cute. And this kid will be used to lure you into an environment and then basically plunder and loot your entire camp once they have used this little 4-year-old, once they have used this little 5-year-old to reel all of you in or to bring you out from the holes that you're at. Or some, no, but it's just a kid. And as soon as you come out, they're going to shoot everybody dead and loot, plunder, basically take everything that is in your camp and kill all of you. Kill all of you. However, taking with them whatever they want, perhaps maybe even just live in the establishment, the camping site that you have established, with your bodies having been thrown in the nearby river. That's what these kids are going to do. It's literally coming. And this is the judgment that is going to be laid on people as a result of their irresponsibility. Do you understand? With children. The Lord is going to let this child army, these multiple child armies across the world in different countries, He's going to let them terrorize you in the tribulation. He's going to let them terrorize you in the tribulation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because of the fact that you will have been irresponsible with their souls, and also because of the fact that you will have, in the run-up to the tribulation, literally sent a whole bunch of 10-year-olds to hell. That's what's going on. Facing a God that their parents taught them did not exist in eternity. And they will have had a conscience, thanks to the invisible qualities of God and their consciences, that this is real, that God is real, and not sought Him, and found themselves in darkness. The Lord is going to judge men and women who led children astray by creating a child army in the tribulation that is going to be so recalcitrant that it will not even obey the Antichrist system. That's how he's gonna save them for himself. I spoke about that the other day, how it is that on the second coming, that's not the only thing that's gonna rescue these kids, because God is going to be displayed as one who can mow them to the ground, and they will ultimately respond to the gospel. However, not before the literal second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. The second coming. Not all the hardship that's going on, just the second coming. Not all kids are going to be like this. Yes, there will be others that will get born again and go to heaven. There will be others that will stay with their parents. There will be others that will be somewhat sober. However, there's going to be literally militant children that are going to be fearsome. And everybody is going to be fleeing from those militia groups. And grown up little armies, grown up little gangs ain't going to have jack on these kids. They ain't going to have jack on these kids. Yeah. Thought that I had. Let's just get straight into it. I don't know what the age of accountability is. I just know that it's very young. I just know that every pregnancy is going to cease to exist at the rapture. But I also know that if at all you make a decision to like basically pop a baby, continue to have sex and all that jazz, if you decide to go and fall pregnant in the tribulation, your child is going to be in danger from the moment that it is in your stomach, from the moment it comes out of your womb. You're going to wish you could delay your pregnancy and make like an elephant and have a baby only after 2 years of being pregnant. You're going to wish you could keep that baby inside your stomach, because once your babies are born, they're going to be hunted. Thank you. Hunted. That's what I saw in my dream. Hunted. Your babies are gonna be hunted. Yo, I don't know how many times I can say this. Well, first of all, we're going home. That's the thing that's happening. But you're not gonna believe me until that day comes, so do you, right? Now that you are in the tribulation, however, listening to my content, understand, those of you that insist with your cloth, those of you that insist with your fornication, or even with your marital sex, yeah, and then go on right ahead and impregnate your wives. First of all, irresponsible much, I'm just putting that out there. The scriptures make it clear that the tribulation is a terrible time, right? For nursing women and pregnant mothers. For nursing wives, women and pregnant mothers. As he says that when you are in flight, running away, you must pray that your flight, well, I mean, he speaks to the Jews because they're obviously going to get left behind thanks to them rejecting their Messiah. But this message can be applied also to the Gentiles, because you're also going to be in flight, aren't you? So you might as well take the nuggets of wisdom given to the Jews too for yourselves, because everybody got to survive at this point. Everybody got to try and stay strong. That's what's good. Yeah, no. It is written in God's word that when you are in flight, make sure, pray that when you fly, when you run away, that it doesn't happen in winter, because it's going to be terrible to flee in winter. Why? Because the frostbite, hypothermia, all different kinds of things that can happen to you. And it's worse even if you're busy out here running, only heavily pregnant, looking like a duck, waddling around all over the show. It's going to be rough to climb mountains. That's why I said the tribulation is going to favor the young, the agile. That's why these kid armies ain't nobody got anything on them. Alright? It's also going to favor those that don't need chronic medication, those that are healthy. It's going to favor those people. So people basically that are young all the way up until the age of 50, who are healthy in body and all that jazz, yeah, they've got the strongest chance of survival in the tribulation if they're going to be flee, if they're going to flee from the Antichrist system. So kids, of course, have an advantage in that regard. They've got all manner and kinds of advantages. They've just got better health. They are more agile. They are less, prone to all different kinds of weird things that tend to slap people as age sets in. However, these kids are not going to be beneficial for you. They're not going to be doing your runs for you. They're not going to be basically the grease man that in Ocean's 11 that's able to slip into a small little box on your behalf, because they're going to abandon you. They're going to disown you as parents. I've said that. Some of them, not all. They're going to disown you. And that's going to be the first ounce of heartbreak. So cease and desist, female and man, from having babies in the tribulation. Just do that. I just feel as if they might as well neuter yourself like a horse. I could say, sterilize yourself or sign. I don't know. No, don't sterilize yourself. Don't do that. It's a sin against God. However, what you ought to do is avoid pregnancy throughout the tribulation. And I'm not speaking out your condomizing or even taking the pill. Just don't have sex at all. I spoke about how it is that sex is going to give you grief, because sometimes it's going to come with all different kinds of itchy lady parts. You're going to get thrush. You're going to get vaginal issues. You're going to get a smell. You're going to get an STD. You're going to get ABCD. All these issues that come with sexually active women, even if it's not an STD. Y'all know you need to see a gynae a lot more when you are sexually active. Y'all know you struggle with thrush a lot more when you are sexually active. Y'all know that these things are true as soon as you are sexually active. However, when you're celibate, kumnandi, it's like a fresh air and just blowing down there. You don't got no issues, so avoid having issues, because there's no medication. There are no cranberry pills to avoid thrush, to deal with what do you call this, urinary tract infections, blah blah. If you can just avoid sex, do that. It's one of your best strategies, frankly, in the tribulation. However, mankind has no self-control. That's what's good. Yeah, you actually are gunning for your last day. You're running after it. Ngarwana, you're first. That's what's good. And so for those reasons, you're gonna want to go clothing. Do you? And then get them genital warts that have no antibiotics. Like, all the best, okay? Let's just put that out there. However, as for the women, the females that will eat anyway, despite this counsel, go on right ahead to fall pregnant. Yeah, no. If at all your pregnancy starts to grow and grow, you know that the baby was not in the stomach, right, on the date of the rapture. Otherwise, it would have been taken away. That's what's good. So you're gonna basically insist on, after the people have been vacuumed into the sky, still be having sex. What are you doing? Like at this point, it's just really basic way sang. Anyway, whatever. If you want to have sex, do you? And if you want to have babies also, do you? But understand, those babies will be made the bane of your existence in the tribulation. It's the reason why people have been trying to get me to fall pregnant. It's because my baby was going to get used against me. I had quite the prolific terrible dream. I keep getting prolific terrible dreams. I don't like them, but hey, it is what it is. And so granted that it is what it is that we nonetheless do. It is what it is. These are your lives. You've chosen them. You've made your bed, now lie in it. How basic, okay? If you decide to fall pregnant in the tribulation, cause, I don't know, lust heavy or whatever, understand that pregnancy, like I said earlier, you're going to wish that you had kept it inside your body for as long as it would take for some animals out there to give birth to kids. There are animals that are pregnant for years. I believe elephants are one of them. You're going to wish you were an elephant. You're going to wish you had kept that baby in your stomach. You are going to wish that that baby didn't come out. Because as soon as Lomtana apuma, that baby is going to get recruited. That's how much the devil knows how young the age of accountability is. That is how much Satan knows how young the age of accountability is. Like, there's a certain, like, he knows he is a spirit being that has been to Sheol and seen just how young souls can be that get there. And so he is, of course, gunning for your kids, isn't he? He is also, of course, gunning to kill them before they give their lives to Jesus Christ. He is also gunning to make out of them these little cannibals that are going to be militant and full of disobedience against every structure of authority in society. And he is going to gun for them knowing that he can turn them easily, easier even than he can turn you. In the heart of a child dwells great folly, but the rod of discipline drives it away from him. It is written in God's word that but like we as human beings in sin did our parents conceive us. Our parents conceive us in sin. Do you understand? We are born practically, it's over before it even starts. It's over before it even starts. Total depravity. We're just whack from the very get-go. We are born dead in trespasses and sins. The only thing that can put you in heaven, being born dead like that, is the fact that you haven't sinned. It would be unjust for God to allow anybody or anything spotted or blemished to enter heaven. So the only human beings that enter heaven without embracing the gospel, without being given the gospel, are those that never got to sin. And unfortunately, guys, it's babies. It's babies. It's babies. Babies, and perhaps as young as 2, maybe 3 years old. But everybody else are fair game. As soon as your conscience slaps you, you are fair game. The Lord has bones to pick, therefore, with irresponsible parents that do not train their children up in the admonition of the Lord from the very get-go. Kids are very they're very receptive, to the gospel. They are so soft, they're malleable, they're plastic that way. They can just be molded. It's easy. Sunday school is such a breeze, for crying out loud. Every child there believes with every bone in their body what is being taught. They believe it. So kids, it is as easy as ABC 1, 2, 3 to get them to heaven. It is literally that easy, because they will believe you, who are their figure of authority that has raised them, that they trust. And so what you teach them, they just run with it. Therefore, to teach children anything other than God is just irresponsible. It's irresponsible. To teach children anything other than the salvation message is irresponsible. The Lord God Almighty has made kids as impressionable as they are towards evil. They're also easily impressionable for God. So it is literally inexcusable for any child to end up in the darkness. Inexcusable. And yet, from what I saw, a whole bunch of them are just being taken like a tsunami, just like that. That's the world you've created. That's how irresponsible you are. Tandaga, be like, goodness, when I was in the world, I had friends that were out here telling me that they're broody and that they want kids. Desert. Dry, tumbleweed rolling around when it comes to like any marriage proposal in sight. Like, here it is that my girl is out here trying to have a baby. Ooh, broody, girl. My cousin was like that. She was like, I'm broody, I want a child. She was literally buying the magazine. Savannah, Baby and I, whatnot. You know these baby magazines that you buy, go like little Toys R Us or whatever. She was buying them and as a pregnant on some I'm broody, I want a baby. And then when you look around, like I said, just desert, arid, dry, like absolutely nobody out here trying to like gallop towards her on a horse like a knight in shining armor, trying to say, will you marry me? Really, yeah, that's how it was when I was in the world. So I attended many a baby shower of some like unmarried females after giving birth to little boys and little girls that are really cute, so cute that you could never ever under heaven imagine that a travesty when at all they came into the world, except the fact that they're not married. That was the travesty. You're already setting a child up for failure and just fell from the get-go just by mere virtue of having it out of wedlock. Just by mere virtue of having it out of wedlock. Please do not mistake, I'm not talking now about unfortunate women who have been raped and so had a baby, of course, out of wedlock type setup thing. Like, nah, not those. I'm speaking about umuntu nje that went out of her way to plan to have a baby, kungena husband. It's irresponsible, like entirely. Even before I was born again, I would not go out like that. Mengas ba, you want these guys are untrustworthy, they ain't loyal. Goodness, Chris Brown was supposed to sing that song about himself, not the other way around. They ain't loyal. They don't marry baby mamas. Like, I don't know why you're out here giving guys babies that are just nifela because you're broody. Hey, do you want to know why you get broody as young as you do? I got broody when I was just 22. I was just 22, 23 when I got broody for the first time. I was like, all of a sudden, I grew up being like, ew. Whenever I would hold a baby, I'd be like, oh, I didn't think much of babies. I thought they were all ugly at birth. I thought all babies were just ugly. Yeah, I didn't like them. And then all of a sudden, something changed in me at just 22. And they all started looking really cute. I then started really liking them a lot. Especially the little girls walking around. Yeah. And ever since 22, 23, I've wanted to have a baby. While I'm 39 and I still don't have one. Do you know why? Because I'm not married. Like, I stuck to my guns. I could have had a baby with just about anything because biological clock is ticking. I've been broody for 2 decades, over 2 decades. So I mean, goodness gracious, this here is a travesty, is it not? Except no, it's not. This is exactly what ought to happen. It's called self-control. Like, you don't just get to give anybody a baby, but that's the thing. In 2023, it's not a taboo for a woman to be pregnant out of wedlock, unless of course you're living in the United Arab Emirates. Unless you're in the UAE, then your pregnancy might actually get you executed. However, out of wedlock, because sex before marriages, they're all illegal and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they're not running on the juice of Jesus. They're running on the juice of Allah. So they don't count. That's what's good. Yeah. So unless you're in the UAE, a pregnancy out of wedlock is not a taboo. So much so that women in the UAE that are out here giving birth on airplanes are given asylum in the countries that they find themselves in. Because if they go back home, they're gonna get massacred. They're gonna get out your firing squad shot and stuff like that. They're gonna get hung or beheaded, whatever it is that is the method of execution. But you get executed in the United Arab Emirates if you are pregnant out of wedlock, because you evidence in so being pregnant that you had sex at all outside of marriage. I don't know how they deal with rape cases. I bet it's a different story altogether. But the, I guess, burden of proof of rape is on the woman. She got to prove that she was raped. And yeah, so I mean, really, given that human rights for women there are so sparse, scant, like just sparsely scattered out here in these streets, it's just likely that even the rape victims are executed by mistake because nobody could prove that the chick didn't want to do it. I don't know. Yeah. So the fact that Mina, when I was that in those years, like I got broody at 22, 23, and so too did many of my girls. They were like, ooh, I want babies. Ooh. All of a sudden, it was spurred up in us at that young age. You know why that was the case, guys? Because that's just how God intended it to be. He intended for us women to be popping babies from around Vele that age. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, but we're out here delaying the age of marriage to like freaking 40. And so for those reasons, we are having 20,000 like children before we get married. And then you subjugate these kids to the tyranny of your unmarried lives and making them feel as if though if I turned out alright, then I guess, y'all know what my parents did was okay, except did you turn out alright? Let's just go on right ahead and calculate what your mindset is. If it is rotten to the core, like a bad egg, honey, you didn't turn out alright. You turned out like your mom. You turned out like your dad. You're out, you're pregnant at 23 with no marriage prospect in sight. I mean, you're literally your mother. What are you doing? Even if your mom had you at 18, and so you managed to escape the teenage pregnancy taboo, and you're 25, if you're not married, you literally are your mom. Girl, that's exactly what you are. My cousin Yana, she did a bit of a moonwalk backwards like Michael Jackson. Why? Because Melahaye had her when she and the dad were married. Yet she went on right ahead and gave some dude a baby before then. So I was like, oh, okay, so I guess what you do is regression. That's the thing about generational curses out there in these streets. They make kids worse off than their parents. The parents were fornicating before they got married, so the daughter too fornicated, and over and above fornicating, had a baby out of wedlock, and then pressurized ka korobela. Imagine that. The guy ramunyale, because namu laughing, I keep a man that's not my baby daddy. Women also do korobela. My cousin was out buying baby books at 22 with no marriage prospects in sight. Do you understand? I watched her fall pregnant and I was like, I'm sorry, you and I do everything together, just not this. Or no, I'm not gonna do it with you. I'm not gonna follow you in that, like the whole pursuit of yours. It's not like I wasn't broody too, but like, goodness gracious, where do you see a marriage prospect in sight? However, when I got into a stable relationship with my boyfriend, that's when I started to be broody and want children. Do you understand? I wanted children. However, this little bugaboo that made me want to throw my pager out the window, was wasting time. I, however, used to talk to him all the time about how it is that, oh, what would our kids look like? At some point, I even went into some application on the internet where I fit in his photo and my photo and produced what our baby would look like. And I was like, look, this is what our baby would look like. And I took it back to him. And he was like, ha ha ha, cute. Yeah, I was broody hinting to him, did he propose? No. But after I break up with him, then does he bring back lost lover? It's like, did you not see that I wanted you to marry me then? Like, why don't you bring back lost lover? After because on anyway, whatever, that's just black men for you. Do you hambani dogs? Do you off bark? Like, I guess that's bias anybody in these streets. However, that same boyfriend of mine, like no man's business. I never missed a day. I did not skip a single day. I did not skip even a single hour of that day because I had an alarm that told me. And then my pills, they didn't go bathroom moon where I could see them every day just in case. Making sure I'm not gonna go and have a baby with a man that has not proposed marriage to me. And I'm also not going to be lambasted by the guilt of an abortion. So what we're gonna do is Diane. That pill made me fat, but I would have much rather been on that fattening pill and lost my body to just random irresponsible water weight fat instead of like donut fat. I don't know. Then have a baby by a man that's not my husband. Because what in the world under heaven would make that, I guess, me different from some baby mama and fella typical in the black community dealing with a baby daddy of 7 other kids out there in these streets. That's how that trend starts, by the way, right? It's kind of like a yeah. If you're the first woman to give like a future, a baby, or a Nick Cannon, a baby, you're a girl. You were the first one to be naive. So when you give a man a child out of wedlock, what you're thoroughly like hoping, crossing your fingers that you're not with future. I really hope I'm not with Nick Cannon. I really hope that I am not with the baby daddy of 28. However, I'm baby mama number 1. Priding yourself in being the first one in the queue. No. When you get married, you eradicate such statistics as those. However, if you don't want to do that as a woman, you become the thing that is the generational precursor of your progeny's inevitable demise. And so your daughter is going to also end up a bit of a Sierra. No, not a Sierra. Future's first baby mama. Your daughter is going to end up the girl that gives a guy that hasn't married her the typical statistics of a black girl in the black community. Out here giving some dude that's going to go and make 27 other babies with some other women. But like, you know what? At least nigga number 1, I wasn't the naive one. Except you are if you give a baby to a man out of wedlock. It's that basic. It's literally that basic. And because of such indiscretions as these, kids are being thrown into families of wayward randos out here in these streets that have no regard for God, that are out here gloating and doting over babies born out of wedlock, priding themselves in being able to take care of babies by themselves. And so for those reasons, it's no big deal that baby daddy's not around or whose salary is not as strong as I would like it to be. You are okay with things you ought not be okay with because your countries have legalized sex outside of marriage. Your countries have legalized having babies out of wedlock, and so much so have they been legalized, it's now glamorized for you to just keep on popping a baby. It's almost as if though you experiment with your uterus to see if at all they can house a baby. You experiment with your eggs to see if at all they can be fertilized, and when it happens it's like, yeah, it works. Wow, it was clearly gonna work because it's been working for women all throughout the ages. Why did you have to go and experiment in your belly? Experiment to see if your eggs work with your husband. I keep saying, what are these men that keep on planting babies inside women's stomachs? It's like they are experimenting to see if their sperm works. And then when they fertilize a woman, they're like, oh, I was wondering if I was shooting blanks or what. But like, it's a whole human being. It's a whole human being. And that whole human being that you're going to bring forward is going to be raised by 2 parents who have absolutely no respect for Jesus Christ. Obviously, because Kimo wana uteng. Obviously, Kimo because mo teng hanyalwa. Obviously, Kimo because baby daddy sent in a check. Really, can it? Your baby daddy, what checker? Oh wow, you're getting visited. Or at your apartment. By your baby daddy? I'm sorry, like why doesn't he live there? Oh right, no, he's not your husband and he's also not ready to move in with you. Oh, okay, I get it. You chose it. And so because kids are out here growing up with a mom that's being seen by multiple boyfriends a year, and also a dad that every so often comes through to see this kid and then goes back to his own house, and the kid also every so often goes to live for a couple of weeks in a year or in a month in another house. Yeah, no, that's the kind of stuff that makes children discombobulated and really have no regard for God. You normalize stuff that's just frantically a taboo. It is actually a taboo. There was a time in history, puritanically, where it is that such things would not happen. Where kids would grow up in households, if at all they're single, it's only because the mom is a widow. Dad had to go to war and died, that's why. Yeah, my father, otherwise known as my mother's husband, had to go to war and he died. So now I'm like this kid out here being raised by just my mom. My mom, however, is being spoken to by the next door neighbor's son, and it looks as if though that guy's gonna marry my mom, and so he's gonna be my stepdad. That's how things used to be back in the day. Kids just grew up with their dads and moms. It was the norm. And then you just have to go and discombobulate that and make it look normal. Batung, having babies with tumbleweeds of engagement rings in the wilderness, basically rolling around threatening you with no such promise as that. Bana haba khula jwanong in an ecosystem like that is not normal. Understand the latter part of society is an abnormal, aberrant, random, strange thing. It is so aberrant and so strange and so out of whack that the Bible describes it as perilous. He says these days are perilous. They are perilous, guys. Because ain't no other time in history literally looked like this. Just 50 years ago was a lot better. Like 100 years ago. Just go 100 years ago. The earth has been in existence, whether or not you want to argue with me, those of you who believe in the Big Bang, whatever, for about 6,000 years. And things have never been this bad for 6,000 years. And that includes pagan societies too. That includes societies that are not godly. Where children are just raised by single moms, single dads. Where children are just like, it's the norm in society for kids to know, like, 5 different people that kid has in their lifetime called dad or mom, because the mom has changed boyfriends so many times and the dad has also changed girlfriends so many times, and this kid, it's normal. And then they come up, grow up, go to varsity, study BCom accounting, become chartered accountants later, and apparently that's what has made them turn out alright in the end. Like your kid has turned out alright because kid chartered accountant today. Except what is this kid doing with their lives? What's your CA child? What's your actuarial scientist kid? Pasitzenka straight A's, Goga pure maths. Yeah. Well, what is this like genius kid of yours doing in their private life? Never mind their academia. They're smart because you're smart, fine. We'll give the kids that 1 ounce of kudos. Spiritually. When how busy burning sage in her little campus apartment. When how busy doing yoga in her little gym class. When how busy at Jola le boyfriend number 7. Because it's okay for her to just recreationally date, it's nothing bad. So much so, is it okay that 3 of those 7 boyfriends she's brought home to mom? She has brought home to mom on some, mom, this is my guy. No, not because I think it's the one, but just because, you know, you want to have an open relationship with your daughter. So please, if you're gonna date a guy, I want to meet him. So it doesn't matter that you as a parent have met like 4 boyfriends of your daughter. 7. Yeah, kaneti. I personally am like, you know, a little bit of a rebel in that regard, because before I got born again, I promise you my mom met like 2 of my boyfriends. 3? Was it 3? Not 2. 2? 3, 2, it was 2. My mom met 2 of my boyfriends. Why did my mom meet 2 of my boyfriends? One of which I didn't even love. But I just wanted to be able to bring him around. I didn't love him because he was gay. He was like a whole closet homosexual. And yet all these mannerisms, a little bit of a sumizi nang bora. I was never going to stay with him, but I wanted to just bring him around. And so I had to introduce him to my mom. That's what's good. I was never going to marry that guy. However, the other guy I was very serious with, but it never ended up in marriage. Just the fact that my mom has met any man at all in my life is just irresponsible. That was not courting me, it's irresponsible. But y'all don't understand how far society has fallen from what ought be the case. You think Uti I am archaic, or kind of puritanical, out here like slaying witches at the stake, burning them, or whatever might be the means to ransack or hang or kill those found wanting in Salem for witchcraft. Guys, you think I'm a Puritan, you think I'm this old school archaic thingamabob, except what you don't realize, mankind in 2023, is that you are the anomaly. You're the aberration. Humanity, you in this latter part, this 21st century, are literally the oddball in all of humanity. So bad are you that God describes you as perilous. It's perilous what you are. The legalizing of all manner and kinds of worthless pursuits by your governments has made out of you a perilous conglomerate. The last days human race is evil in a way that is unprecedented. There is no time such as this one, according to the word of God in Matthew 24, that has preceded it. There's no other time in history that precedes the days of basically of the very end of the end. He says that in the last days it's going to be like the days of Noah. But of course it doesn't compare, because there's like what, 8 billion such souls now on earth, instead of just whatever handful were around in the days of Noah. Plus, I don't think humanity had reached the height of innovation in terms of what wickedness they can do against God, given that they lacked technology. They were limited in terms of what they could do. And so for those reasons, they weren't as bad, really, frankly. It is written in God's word about the Tower of Babel upon those buffoons building it, that if at all they prosper to build it all the way to the top, there is nothing that they won't be able to conceive in their minds to do. So the Lord discombobulated their speech, and they got Babelized all over the earth. Yeah. Well, I mean, people have built the Tower of Babel so high now that there is literally nothing that they can't conceive in their minds to do with technology. You've come up with artificial intelligence. There's all these structures in place to enable you to sin ever so spectacularly. Now, you can fornicate with entire AI. Now, you can fornicate with like blow-up dolls, for crying out loud. Now, you've innovated your way yourselves into obscurity and into oblivion. And so, seeing as you have innovated, even public displays of sexual activity, otherwise known as pornography, something that's like a whole 21st century issue. It's a 21st century issue. Back in the day, such pornographic acts happened behind the scenes, where it is that you would grab a prostitute that wears a lot more clothing than the regular, what is apparently normal non-prostitute girl in the street. Prostitutes of old used to dress up in frocks all the way down to their ankles. The only thing that would tell you that she's a prostitute is frankly like her cleavage. Now, you can't tell the difference between what your kids on TikTok are wearing and the prostitute hanging out Rose Bank Mall. That's what's good. Yeah. So whatever, this pornographic society that we're living in right now is an anomaly in all of history. Even the prostitutes of old were modest in comparison to regular chicks of today. Regular chicks of today, never mind prostitutes. Sexual revolution, my body, like Papa. What are you doing? This last days conglomerate of Earth's citizens are anomalous. You are an outlier. You are an aberration in the history of the human race. You don't compare to any other time in history. You don't. And so because things are that bad, God has to end you. He has to end you. Plus, there's like literally too many of you for this to just continue to be proliferated. Like 8 billion, what are you doing? With 8 billion people. Already it was noisy in the ear of God in the days of Noah. And back then, I imagine the earth only had hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions at most. Nah, hundreds of thousands. What is God gonna do with 8 billion loud, cantankerous randos that are out here bashing their fists against Emmanuel? You are a pornographic society that is so perilous that it compares to no other time in history. And yet you think that you are progressive, that you have advanced. Nah, you have declined. You have got a moral dirt. And as a result of the moral dirt that you are walking in, and understand that I'm not actually calling myself better, I got ripped out of that. And when I got ripped out of it, upon, I guess, perusing all of history, I realized just how evil the 21st century worth of human beings are. And on top of that, you've got a longer lifespan because of medical advancements in technology. And so therefore you have longer to do a lot of rubbish. You also don't have as much hardship. Conglomerate, like just as you are conglomerated on the earth, you don't have too many issues in comparison to, especially those of you who are in modernized society in the middle class. You can do whatever you want. That's why America is so buoyant with wickedness right now. It's fat from luxury. It is filled with meat. And so because it has gorged itself with a whole bunch of meat, it can't see what, like random boba, but the way that they're so feckless in their wickedness. The only people with eyes to see are those who indeed have kept their eyes peeled on Jesus, and they see the melting away of their own society, and they're like, my goodness, what's going on? If you think me talking about right now being the end of the world is a little bit, excessive, or that I'm one of those like doomsday randos that don't make no sense, hey, but I feel like just the most recent 50 years. Just go back to the last 70 years. Go back to the last 100 years. I would go so far as to say, just look back 100 years and look at families across the world, what they looked like, and you will see just how far you've fallen. You are a pornographic society that keeps on making a whole bunch of babies for the devil. That's what you're doing. You're just having babies, popping them. What in the world are couples doing planning to have a child when they're not married? What in the world are people doing fornicating and not being interested in getting married? What are you doing? Just stuff all over the show and then telling yourself, nah, I'm not gonna get married. I was watching the story of Goldie Hawn, who has been with some dude for like 30 years now, and they're not married. And that's because apparently she got married 2 times and it ended up in divorce, and then when she made a decision not to marry, it then just lasted. Yeah, like 30 years. Okay, yeah, so she's been an adulteress then for like, what, 30 years? Look at that, hey? 30 years of adultery. And yet it is something to apparently look up to. People are coming up with models of not getting married so that they don't have as many issues. And the devil is leaving them alone, not sowing discord in those marriages. Why? Because if you can have sex out of wedlock for 30 whole years, I'm happy for you to stay an adulteress. Is that basic? I'm glad. So I'm going to make sure that you do very well. You do very successfully with a man that is not your husband. I'm going to ensure that that is a thing. Because really and truly, it doesn't matter that you've been faithful to him, loyal to him, and him only for 30 years. Bottom line is you've been an adulteress for 30 whole years. 3 decades. In a box, packaged like a Christmas present. 30 years of adultery. That's Goldie Horn for you. Magala Morata, Goldie Wallon. Golden oldie. Let her go, let her be. Fly like a bird, you guys. Fly like a bird. Do what you want to do. But understand this time that's coming to you, this time that has come to you, I would imagine that by the time you are watching this content of mine, say Leda, it's all up in your grill now. It's singing to you like a canary. You think of me as Impimpi, I'm sorry. I'm rather the healer of your soul. That's what I am. I'm coming here to snatch you, some of you even, from the flames of hell. I'm trying to invite you to get drawn out in the Hunger Games and participate in the Hunger Games, following the participation of which you will then win the Hunger Games. Cat, why would you want to go outside? Maybe my cat insisted on going outside. Lena, she's like you guys. You can't stand in the sound doctrine, and so having itching ears, you're gathering for yourself a great number of teachers to teach you what your itching ears want to hear. Or maybe my cat is groaning because like you complain like I'm a morao mona. Yeah, crying to a society that will not get their act together. Whatever it is that is going on right now caused me to dream so horribly about the handling of children in the tribulation that I did not know whether I was coming or going, guys. Like, proper, I woke up and I was like, Kibona, what am I seeing here? This era that we are living in the 21st century, these last couple of, like, 5 years, 5 years young, like 100 years, the last 100 years has been evil. It has been evil. It has produced 2 of the most prolific wars in the world. And it looks like we're about to enter into a 3rd one now. It has ramped up anti-Semitism at heights that we cannot even fathom. Never mind anti-Semitism, but just the sexual revolution. Just all of these women having babies out of wedlock. I made an observation of it back when I was in the world, with a whole bunch of my girls that were out here giving their baby daddies first kids. Everybody was out here planning babies, guys. Like, just the fact that people could can today plan babies without being married. You have no idea how taboo that is. Or that was at some point. It was an incredible taboo just 100 years ago. Just 100 years ago. And now there are couples who have got 5 kids and they've never married. They've never married. What in the world are those children being taught? What do those kids believe? And when those kids come out alright in the end, because one is an accountant, one is a stay-at-home wife and she's very happy, one is a this, one is a that, one is a mayor in the city, one is AOC. Yeah, that's what's good. The other is Julius Malema. Okay, because they're running a party in the country. You think Utiba right? Except look at the rhetoric. Look at what they're thinking. AOC's out here calling women birthing mothers. Birthing, what is this? Pregnant people. Not pregnant people. Birthing people. Menstruating persons. Julius Malema is out here saying kill the boy, kill the farmer. That's what's going on. Marano. One is a leader of a political party and he's making a lot of money. And the other one is a congresswoman. Those are my kids. Yeah. Out of those kids of yours, there's only one that's had 3 children inside a marriage with, but then again, a boyfriend that she was fornicating with before they got married. So that's the one that I guess turned out most biblical. But at the end of the day, it's still not biblical because of how it is that things went. You might be like, it doesn't matter. Who cares about your Jesus? That's just a thing. Who cares about your Jesus and your religion that is so dogmatic? He's God. Like, I can't say that enough. Like, he's the one that created the earth. He said, let there be light. It's true, whether or not you want to believe it. Well, I mean, by the time the rapture has happened, you do believe. He's God. And so right now you might be like, I cannot talk about with your dogma and your religion. But the thing is, if he's God, he's gonna then be like, okay, so you don't care about my dogma. This is what's going on. Go to hell. Like, there is literally hell to pay for how evil the world is currently. You're just purging. Like crime is legal all day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's just legal until you discover that there is a lawgiver that is going to not leave any sin unpunished. Then on that day, I guess it does matter that you had 3 children out of wedlock with your boyfriend before you finally got married. It's gonna matter that as a result of that decision, your kids then also imagine that that lifestyle was okay. And so therefore it is better for a millstone to be tied around your neck and for you to be thrown in the ocean than for you to face God in the judgment because you led your kids astray. And now your kids are giving birth to more kids that are astray. And now here it is that there are 7-year-olds literally landing into hellfire every day. Because they died in a drowning. Because they died in a car accident. Because they died in a plane crash. Because they died in a school shooting. And your kid is out here not safe. Yeah, you did that. You did that by having 3 children with a man that was just a boyfriend. And then finally, with pregnancy number 4, the elders in the family managed to convince you to get married. And now the same elderly in the family said, that's how alone. Now they're scared of the youth now. They're scared of the millennials. And so they won't tell you that this is unacceptable. I'm promising you right now, my ex's parents did not want us moving in together. But we insisted on Ukfat then said that until finally the dad he caved. He capitulated. So who was right? That Haranyala, why are we living together? He was right. But the two of us, I mean, the dad, we love each other. Top of that, like, what else is she gonna do? She's struggling, she's suffering. So I mean, it's my girlfriend. I mean, come on. We managed to cajole my ex's parents into accepting our cohabitation when they initially had qualms with it. So you are bullying your parents into walking away from what you call the old-fashioned way of doing things. Parents of which, when they grew up, this whole colorful agenda, LGBTQ, all the way up until Z, and then squiggly sign and hashtag. Yeah, when it was taboo in their time, they are now being bullied into just being okay with it, when it's just not. Look at what Lil Nas X did with his dad. Lil Nas X's dad is supportive of his son's lifestyle. When Lil Nas X was not even a professing homosexual back in the day, it's like Hollywood made him gay. And the dad is out here on some, I support my son. Of course you are if he's giving you $1 million a month. Of course you are. You capitulated to money. I'm pretty sure that same dad, if his son had just been like, Dad, I'm out of the closet, looking all flamboyant like a peacock and a flamingo at the same time, the dad would have been like, what are you doing, son? This ain't right. But then the young man went and made a whole bunch of money, and the dad now all of a sudden is the most biggest supporter of his boy, who is gay. The dad also probably highly likely has got a whole bunch of his boys giving him slack on some, but like, why are you gonna go let your boy do that? But nah, to him it's like, you know what, I've got my son's millions, and your opinion at this point does not matter because he set me up in a loft. Yeah, parents are being bullied by the millennial and Gen Z kids are bullying them into embracing wickedness. And so grandmother and her ideologies and her dogma back in the day, her biblical Christianity, now she's getting all softened by it. So I guess this goes both ways, right? You teach kids wickedness and then they get older, and when they're older and their parents need them, their parents then now embrace the wickedness of the time. So it goes both ways. Like, you know how it also happened with Katy Perry's parents? Initially, after Katy Perry was all up in acting like an Illuminati puppet in the entertainment industry, they were like, we don't stand or condone our daughter's behavior because we are evangelical Christians and we're going to stick to our guns. And they stuck to those guns until they dropped them. They stuck to those guns until they dropped them because Katie made so much money that the dad and the mom were like, I know we got to stand with our kid. We're going to stand with our kid. And so now the dad is being egged and thrown all different kinds of attacks for settling for his daughter's compromise because the daughter managed to bully the dad and the mom into embracing her ideology. So you cause kids to become evil, and then when they become evil, they then make you evil. More evil than you already were. It's just like a whole feeding system, an interchange system, like exchanging bodily fluids or something nasty like that. Venereal diseases spreading all over the show. The whole human race is just suffering from some state of muscular dystrophy. They can't run anymore. They can't run the way that they used to. No longer is society upholding what is right and virtuous, especially because our governments are also in turn being pressurized to basically give everybody what they want. Give everybody what they want. Like children throwing their toys out the cart and the government is like, fine. Look at what Joe Biden did in the US. Even Barack Obama. Barack Obama started out being on some marriages between a man and a woman. So too, Joe Biden. Marriages between a man and a woman. And now Joe Biden is out here on some, it's wrong, you can't tell a person what to love or who to love, blah, 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 etc. Now look at his America. Look at their America. Look at their America. South Africa, you also have fallen far from grace. You have fallen far from glory. You cry about a bad day and then you ululate when Julius Malema speaks rubbish on the rooftops against white people. You don't know whether you're coming or going. And in my dream, I saw the very children that you're busy giving birth to in an irresponsible ecosystem getting devoured as soon as they came out of the womb. It was such a disturbing nightmare. We are entering into tribulation, and all I can do is prep you guys for what's coming. That's all I can do, because at this point, no matter how much of this stuff I might spew onto YouTube, drop all these bombs, go YouTube, until the rapture. I'm going to be a tough pill to swallow. I told you the other day, I'm like my jagatata, like a nut in a shell. You're going to have to, like the rapture and the tribulation is like a nutcracker. You will eventually consume content you could not stand. You gathered for yourself a great number of teachers to teach you what your 18 years want to hear. Progressive pastors that are out here allowing you to do the most in churches, swinging on chandeliers because you think you're seer, disregarding a holy God, and in so disregarding him, disregarding also the obviously clearly observable reality of the fact that we are a very anomalous, aberrant society in the 21st century in comparison to all of the history of the human race. We are more evil than any other time in history combined. And yet you think we still have another 10 years, 5. You think we still got more years here. You think we can still do this concern. To Mogasani choo-choo train. We're going to enter into that future. I'm sorry, no, crash and burn. That's what's going on. And now that you're in the tribulation, your child is going to be turned into a cannibal. Why? Because you were somewhat of a mini cannibal. Very metaphorically. However, they are a realistic one. They're a literal one. You have been entered into the worst time in the history of the human race. Because children would no longer be sufferable in the future. Children would no longer be takeable in one stride in the future. They would only grow up at worsening as already they are degrading, and whatever it is that would be the societies that they would ultimately produce in the future. Why? On what? On God's watch, Libalang. The Lord would never allow that to happen. Where it is that society will be completely purged of him. Not only is his earth, it's literally his earth. It's his earth, okay? You don't get to kick him out, and you don't get to raise children to be more radical against him than already you are. You don't get to create a whole atheistic society and expect God to just sit back, given that he made this earth. He said, let there be light, and you are out here taking all that light out the earth. He's going to therefore ransack you through the very children that you mistaught. You're going to wish you had trained them up in godliness, because then they would have actually taken care of you in the tribulation, given their agility, given their ability to hide easily, given their sharpness on their feet, given what it is that is the benefit of being youthful in a time like that. You're not going to have them. You're going to have to deal with arthritis, your holy one. Let's move to the next part.